Good morning, students. In the last class, we discussed about the definition of the array, the basic definition of the array, what is array, what are the different characteristics of the array, right? Homogeneous, continuous memory locations, array is index based, array is going to store fixed type of elements. This is what we discussed in the previous class, right? So, in today's class, we discuss about types of the array. There are two types of the arrays. One is single dimensional array, another one is multi-dimensional array. Right? Single dimensional array is also known as one dimensional array. Right? First, we will see single dimensional array and then we discuss about multi-dimensional array. Okay? Next. Sorry. So if you see here, single dimensional array can be written in short form as 1D. 1D means one dimensional array. So if we see the definition of the 1D array, so an array with only one subscript of index is known as single dimensional array. What is this subscript of index means? If you observe here, in marks and then we have written two square braces, one is open, another one is closed one. So this symbol is known as combination of open and closed square braces is known as subscript of index. If array contains, this is what the symbol of the array, right? So if there is only one subscript of index, if there is only one subscript of index, it is known as single dimensional array, right? So how we are going to identify this is single dimensional and this is two dimensional means based on the number of subscript indexes we can identify. So if you see here there is only one subscript of index, it means it is single dimensional array, right? So it means what is single dimensional array means? It in this array we are going to store either row elements or column elements, not both. Both row and column combination is not possible to store in the case of single dimensional array. If you want to store only row elements or column elements, then it is preferable, right? It represents that subscript of index. The subscript of index represents either row or column elements, but not both. Alright. Then how to declare, how to initialize the elements in the array, in the 1D array. How to create 1D array, how to instantiate 1D array, how to assign elements in the 1D array. So that is what we are going to discuss now. So if you first one is what is 1D array means? An array with only one subscript of index is known as one dimensional array. So in one dimensional array we are going to store either row elements or column elements, but not both row and column elements, right? That is the second point. Next one, here we are discussing the ways of creating 1D array. How to create 1D array? There are two ways to create 1D array. If you see here, the first way, uh, we can declare one dimensional array and directly store elements at the time of declaration. So this is the first way of creating the array. If you observe this sentence, here we have done declaration of the array and storing of the elements. Assigning elements into the array is also done in this single statement, right? So here what we have done, we have declared the array. So the array name is marks. Marks is the name of the array. This is single dimensional array. The array name is marks. The type of this array is int. Int means what? This array is going to store only integer elements. So that's why we have written only integer values. Here integer means you may write positive, negative and 0, including 0. It is known as integer values. But it should not contain any characters, any strings, any float, any double numbers. It should not be contained because it is of integer type. No. So it is integer means you have to store only integer values here. So this is one way of creating the array, creating 1D array. So here in this single statements we declare the array and also we store the elements while declaration itself. While declaration itself, we assign the elements into array also. This is one way of creating the array. So in this single statements, we have declared the array, we have initialized the elements, automatically instantiation is also done here. It means what? Instantiation is nothing but the capacity of this array. So here this array capacity is what? 4. So array capacity is 4. It means the size of the array is 4. This array is going to store 4 elements. The size of this array is 4. How we are telling the size of this array is 4? Because here we assigned only 4 values. 10, 20, 30, 40. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 values are assigned. It means the size of this array is 4. Right? So in this way, with this single statements, declaration of array is done, initialization of elements is done, instantiation, memory, the size of the array is known as instantiation. Instantiation of the array is also done here. The capacity, the size of this array is 4. Right? It depends on number of elements we assigned here. So if you assign the 10 elements here, then the size of this array is 10. Right? This is one way of declaring the array. Right? So next another way of creating one dimensional array is declaring array first array declaration and then memory allotment and then initialization, that is storing of values. These three things are done separately here, whereas in this case declaration, storing of values, that is assigning values, that is initialization, and instantiation, all are done in single statement, right? Whereas in the second way, this is one way, right? Whereas in this way, here first we done the declaration and then memory allotment, that is nothing but instantiation, and then storing values. So these things are done separately here. Whereas here with this single statement we have done all three. Declaration is done, instantiation is done, initialization is also done. Okay, this is one way of creating the 1D array. In the another way of creating the array, that is first declaration is done separately, memory allotment is done separately, and then storing values in the memory location is done separately, not in single statement, right? So if you observe here, to declare the array, there are three methods. In marks, this subscript of index is written after name of the array. This is the name of the array. Subscript of index is written after marks, right? This is one way of declaring. And another way is, so this subscript of index symbol is written after data type int, and then subscript of index is written. This is another way of declaring the array. Here in the third way, this subscript of index is written just before the name of the array. Just before the name of the array. So these are the different ways to declare the array. You may choose any method to declare the array. You may write like this, you may write like this, or you may write like this also. There is no problem. In any way you can choose. You can write like this, like this, like this. Whatever you write, the meaning is same. What we are doing here, we are just declaring the array. It means what? We are telling the compiler that here in this program, in our program, we are using an array. The name of that array is marks. The name of that array is marks. It is of type integer. It means it is going to store only integer values. That is the declaration. So that is the first step. Next one is, after declaration, what we are doing here, we are allotting the memory. Memory allotment is done here. It means this array, whatever the array we declared here, for that array, memory allotment is done here. It means this array is going to store only 5 elements. The size of this array is 5. It stores only 5 elements. So whereas in the previous case here we have not done this one. So it is automatically done here. It means based on the values you assigned here, based on the number of values you assigned here, the size of the array is defined. But whereas here separately we are defining the size of the array. So with the help of new keyword, marks is equal to new int of 5. This is the name of the array. Whatever we written here, this is the name of the array, is equal to new is the keyword which is used to allot the memory to this marks array. Int 5, int is the data type. The data type of this array is int, hence we have written int here. If it is of float type, then you have to write float here. If it is char, you have to write char here. And 5 in the square braces we have written 5. It means the size of this array is going to store only 5 elements. Next one, memory allotment is done here. Next, only declaration, memory allotment, and then storing values. It means what? In this array, it is capacity of storing 5 elements, no? So this array is having indexes. We know the array is index based. Index starts from 0, right? Index start from 0. Hence marks of 0, right? This is the first memory location. This is the name of the first memory location, that is marks of 0. In that memory location we are storing 50. Marks of 1, this is the next memory location, there we are storing 60. In this way we have stored 5 elements, right? So 50, 60, 70, 78, 76, these are the values we assigned in the array, right? That is what we have done here, like this. So we have written the values in the flower brackets. The same thing we have done like this. Separately we assign the values. So this is the memory location, which first memory location, its name is marks of 0. So if you observe here, if you considering this array and its name, this is the name of this array is marks, then the name of this memory location is marks of 0. The name of this memory location is marks of 1. The name of this memory location is marks of 2. So if you want to assign a value in this memory location, then you have to write marks of 0 is equal to so and some value. So like that, marks of 1 is equal to, if you write marks of 0 is equal to 20, then 20 value will be stored in this memory location. If you write marks of 3 is equal to 50, then in this memory location, that is here 50 will be stored, like this, right? So this is another way of creating the one-dimensional array. This is one way and this is another way. So in the first method, What we have done? We have done three things in single statements. That is, declaration of array is done, storing of values is done, then automatically memory allotment will also be done here in single statement. The same thing will be done here in three steps. In the first step, we declared the array. In the second step, we allotted the memory. In the third step, we are initializing the values in memory locations with their respective names, memory location names, right? This is how to create single dimensional array, right? So here I have written a simple program to illustrate how to declare, instantiate and initialize and traverse the array. How to declare the array, how to initialize the array, how to instantiate the array, and then how to display those elements on the screen. That is what traversing array. Traversing is nothing but visiting each element of the array and displaying that element on the screen. That is what we have done here. That is the traversing array. So this is the simple program to illustrate declaration of the array, instantiation, initialization and traversing of the array. Right? If you see here, the name of the class name is array here, right? This is the main method, public static void main string args. Here string is class. That's why you have to write S as capital letter, right? And first statement what we have written here, this in this statement declaration of array is done. So if you observe the statement, left side of this assignment is equal to operator, this one, this is what the declaration, right? Declaration, this is the name of the array. A is the name of the array. The type of this array is int. This array is going to store integer type value, right? This is declaration. And the statement right side of this is equal to what we have done here, that is instantiation part. So instantiation part, we have to use new keyword, data type and the size of that array. Here in this single statement, in this first statement, declaration of the array is done and instantiation is done. Instantiation means memory allotment. These two things are done here. One is declaration, another one is instantiation, right? And then initialization. If you see here, the size of this array is 5. The size of this array is 5, right? It means it is going to store 5 elements, right? So 5 elements means, 1 minute. So this is the array. This is the array and the name of this array is A. So the capacity or size of this array is 5. It means it can, this array is going to store 5 elements. It is having the memory space to store 5 elements of integer type, right? So this is the one location to store one element, second element, third, fourth and fifth. So this is the array which is having the memory to store 5 elements. So here you can store one element, second element, third element, fourth element, fifth element. We know array is index based. So an index always starts from 0. So this is the 0 and this is 1 and this is 2 and this is 3 and this is 4. This is what the index of the array, right? So if you observe here, a of 0 is equal to 10 means So this is what the A of 0, name of the array and its index. So combining these two, A of 0, it represents the name of this location. A of 0 is equal to 10. It means 10 will be stored here. In the same way, A of 1. So this is name of the array and this is the index. A of 1 means this location. Here 20 will be stored. Right? A of 3. A of 2. Here this is the memory location where 30 will be stored. Right? Here 40. A of 4, that is 50. Here 50 will be stored. Like that, we initialize the array. So this is the initialization part. We initialize the array with these elements. Right? So declaration, instantiation, initialization. So these three things are done here. Next one, traversing array. So what we are doing here means we are visiting each element of the array and then with the help of SOP statement, that is system.out.println, we are displaying that element on the monitor. Right? So for that purpose we are using for loop here. For loop int I is equal to 0. Why we have taken I is equal to 0 means index starts from 0. Index is starting from 0. That's why we initialize this variable I with 0. I is equal to 0. I less than. Condition is a dot length. A dot length means the length of this array is what? 5. So it is going to store 5 elements now. This is 5. So the length of this array is 5. Right? A dot length means this value of this A dot length is 5. Right? Why 5? This is what the size of the array. Right? Next, increment. So first we are initialization and then we check the condition. If the condition is true, for example I is equal to 0, 0 is less than 5, 0 is less than 5, right? Condition true, then system.out.println of A of I. A of I means I value is what? 0. A of 0. A of 0 means this memory location. It contains 10. So 10 will be printed on the monitor. Then I value incremented. I value incremented means it becomes 1. Next, A dot length means 5 only. So 5. Again condition is true. Then the value present in A of 1 location will be printed. That is 20. A of 1. That is 20. And then again I value incremented. Then it becomes 2. Sorry, this is 2. 2 less than 5. Condition is true. Then again the value of A of 2, that is 30, will be printed. In this way, what we are doing, we are visiting each and every element of the array and displaying that value on the monitor. So like this, all the elements of the array will be printed on the monitor. Right? So this is how to declare the array, how to create one-dimensional array. Right? So here up to this what we learned, what is one dimensional array, how to create it, right? So in the next class we discuss about two-dimensional array which comes under multi-dimensional. Okay, so in today's class we discussed what is the definition of one-dimensional array, how to create it, we also seen a program related to one-dimensional array, that is how to create, declare and instantiate and how to traverse the array. Okay, thank you.